The House Judiciary Committee has released transcripts of the long-awaited closed-door testimony by former Trump White House counsel Don McGahn. According to that transcript, McGahn told lawmakers he felt, quote, frustrated, perturbed, and trapped by Donald Trump's efforts to oust Robert Mueller as special counsel. Now, McGahn went on to say he feared that Trump's demands would push the entire situation, quote, to the point of no return. But McGahn stopped short of characterizing Trump's actions as illegal. The former president released a statement today insisting that he had been, quote, exonerated by McGahn's testimony, which is not true. Joining us now is NBC News Capitol Hill correspondent Garrett Haake and MSNBC legal contributor Danny Cevallos. So, Garrett, we'll start with you. So, former President Trump, in a statement, he's called the testimony a, quote, nothing burger. But that's not the read from the Democrats who were in the room. So what do they think they gleaned from McGahn's testimony?
Yeah, it's certainly more than that. Look, I think the biggest substantive part of this was hearing from McGahn in his own words about the then president's efforts to fire Robert Mueller and McGahn's refusal to do that. And McGahn working the refs, being a source for the Washington Post, making it clear that he wouldn't be pushed to do that, and that stories that the White House was trying to put out that the president at the time did not want Mueller fired or wasn't pushing for that were false. They were lies. But I think the bigger element of this, at least the way Democrats see it, is that this preserves and protects the ability of the House to go get this information in the first place. This was a years-long court fight, took the subpoena to McGahn all the way up and back through the Justice Department, through the entire judicial system here. And Speaker Pelosi said this was a victory for the defense of democracy. So filed this one away as an important check, potentially, on the powers of a future president and the ability of the House to go after even testimony from the closest of aides to that president.
Yeah, and Danny, speaking to the specific substance of the testimony, as Garrett and I both know from having covered the first Trump impeachment from top to bottom, this really would have been a game changer if Jerry Nadler, who chairs House Judiciary, if he had gotten McGahn's account when he asked for it back in 2019. How would that have changed the public record?
It would have totally changed the public record because the public would have seen that this was a situation which is common with criminal defense attorneys in particular, dealing with the unreasonable client in the heat of the moment. And you can hear in Don McGahn's testimony the frustration he had dealing with his own client in response to questions. And I wouldn't say on any level that Trump could say that this testimony exonerates him. In fact, quite the opposite. You see an attorney taking the professional road and trying his very best not to incinerate his own client on the record or the White House.
And Danny, we should make clear that there were limits to the line of questioning because lawmakers could only cover information already disclosed in the Mueller report and really basically ask McGahn if that was accurate. So how did that impact what he was able to provide, what information he was able to give?
You see, during the testimony, McGahn and his attorneys do a masterful job of protecting him by staying within those boundaries very closely. They're very careful not to get into anything beyond what is in the Mueller report and what was public, or at least, what was publicly in the Mueller report about what McGahn had said. And you see him repeatedly in the testimony go back to that issue. Well, what does it say here? I guess that's what I said. It's been 4 years ago. What I said was right there in the report.
So, Garrett, final question, friend. I mean, now that Democrats have this testimony, what are they going to do with it? You talked at the start about the precedent, what it means to have a White House counsel come testify before Congress. But the actual black and white testimony, the things that McGahn said about Donald Trump, what do they do with that information?
Well, the truth is probably not much. This president has already been impeached twice. He's long out of office. I think it's likely up to the Justice Department to decide if they think there's obstruction here. But as for the House, their work here is basically done.
All right, Garrett Haake and Danny Cevallos, great to see the both of you.